Today I am starving, and there is only one man who can feed me. Ladies and gentlemen, I am once again stocking my kitchen using only lyrics, and this time it's the apple pie hating McDonald's Fortnite burger man, Travis Scott. As the man said best himself, I hope you and your friends come eat with me, and I'll show you how to whip that recipe.
The flirt!
Travis has a giant chicken McNuggets body pillow.
Yeah.
Just like me on any given Friday evening, we do get a little fast and loose with the rules for these lyrical recipe challenges, where sometimes I do cover mixtape stuff, sometimes I don't, but I wanted to include a small section to cover Travis's two mixtapes, Owl Pharaoh and Days Before Rodeo. Owl Pharaoh isn't up in its entirety on streaming, so it's a little rarer I tap in on that one, aside from the Radio Los Santos super classic Upper Echelon.
Hey, Apple!
What?
Days Before Rodeo, however, does feature one more ingredient reference than the previous mixtape, and some really great mukbang ASMR from Travis on the song Backyard, where he's loudly munching some sour cream and onion lays. The real first project I'll be gathering ingredients from will be LaFlame's debut studio album, Rodeo.
LaFlame's tracks are so fire, bro.
Yeah, something about me calling a grown man I don't know some silly nickname makes me feel like I need to be put to death. Rodeo gives us access to the following ingredients of garlic, apple pies and pepper, donuts and coffee, syrup, champagne, milk, Hennessy, rosé, candy and candy canes, nuts, cake, and Pringles. Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight was one of my first rap albums all the way back in 2016, and I've had tracks like Goosebumps, Through the Late Night, and Pick Up the Phone on consistent rotation for the past 10 years, actually. There'll be a few months that'll go by with me forgetting how great this album actually is, until my timeline will fortunately produce a call from the cock department, and I'll be forced to pick up the phone. From Birds in the Trap, we get cocoa, juice, gravy and beans, cactus, classic, seasoning and salad, tea, soda, wings, and Fruit Loops. Teaming up with well-known English language professor and romantic poet Quavo of Migos fame, Huncho Jack Huncho marks Travis's first collaborative project. Maybe it's just me enjoying this album the least of the discography, personally, but I felt most of the tracks didn't have like a lot of staying power or major impact culturally, aside of course from Black and Chinese, which celebrates Travis's very rich cultural heritage. The ingredient pickups from Huncho Jack are minimal, but include jelly beans and just jelly itself, wine, lamb, and brisk tea. Astroworld, alright, yeah, this one is a mixed bag for me, to say the least. For me, the songs off this album, especially the classics like Sicko Mode, are some of the finest distillations of college nostalgia, maybe only being rivaled by Sheck Wes's Mo Bamba. So we got that on the one hand, and then on the other hand, you have this. Yeah, not really your finest hour, Travis. Astroworld provides a solid amount of ingredients with sugar, beef, bread, Remy Martin and duck, Jamba Juice, Grey Goose vodka, crackers, cheese, pork and pork rinds, Jack Daniels, and M&Ms. We won't be covering Jack Boys because there are literally no food references on the album, but perhaps this could change with the upcoming Jack Boys 2. The final and most recent album from Mr. Scott as of the recording of this video is Utopia, which is like Zootopia, minus Judy Hopps.
This is a certified hood classic.
I really enjoy the music of this album, but I think it's really critical for this video as we receive a blessing in the form of a lyrical reference to Italian bread out of nowhere, which, spoiler, will be a big component of what we're doing later. Getting back to our ingredients, from Utopia we get chicken, chocolate, bourbon, steak, glizzies, bison, jam, Italian bread, McDonald's, sake, and kombucha. For a quick stat breakdown, now that we've covered these 6 albums, I counted 39 references to base ingredients you'd make a recipe with, and 17 additional references to food like restaurants, completed dishes, things of that sort, bringing us to a total of 56 total food references across Travis Scott's discography. For total food references by project, I counted 15 from Rodeo, 14 from Birds in the Trap, 12 from Huncho Jack, 18 from Astroworld, none from Jack Boys, and 17 from Utopia. At 56 references, Travis lands at 7th out of the 9 artists that I have covered in this series. Of course, with all those ingredient totals being tallied at the time the videos were recorded. So no GNX, no Chromacopia, no Cuck. When I was brainstorming the recipe to make with the ingredients that we've gathered, I originally, of course, thought of, classic apple pie. But I've done a lot of baking on the channel recently, and I kind of suck balls at baking, so we're not going to do that. We had a lot of proteins to work with today, so I considered originally making my own version of a Travie patty, but the direct reference to Italian bread really got my Italian brain whizzing and whirring.
All this from a slice of gabagool.
While I don't have gabagool and I'm not exactly making a burger, I wanted to somehow meet in the middle, so I landed on meatballs. Fried up real nice with some melty cheese, a really crunchy Italian bread, maybe a nice red pepper spread, nice and roasted. Kind of like if there was an Italian deli in the middle of Astroworld. The ingredient components that make up today's recipe will be I actually already have a simple and tasty recipe from my mother on how to make great meatballs, but I'll be making some heavy modifications to this recipe to fit the ingredients Travis has provided me. Like any great recipe, I will start by grating some fresh Parmesan cheese, adding it to my mixing bowl to be combined with some crushed garlic, panko breadcrumbs, a little salt, Italian seasoning, and pepper. I decided, since I had both available, to do a mixture of both ground beef and ground pork, with that beef providing that hearty, meaty flavor you expect, and the pork adding fat, moisture, and a slight sweetness. I'm adding some milk to my balls to help bind and soften them, because nobody likes hard balls. That's testicular cancer. I'll give my meat mixture a few good squeezes and turns to combine everything before doing the fun part, which of course is rolling and then shaping my medium-sized meatballs. Since we don't have oil as an ingredient, I opted instead for using beef tallow, which should output a little bit more of a savory flavor into the meatballs. I'll rotate my meatballs around in my pot, frying them effectively on each side, which produce the best sounds of this recipe experience. She's certainly not the prettiest girl I've ever seen, but she smells great. To prepare my pepper spread, since I clearly don't know what qualifies as a chutney or not, I'll be fire roasting some red bell peppers directly on my burner, slowly but surely acquiring that signature charred exterior. While I won't eat the majority of the charred bits, the softened roasted interior packs a serious flavor punch, especially when combined with some fried garlic, paprika, and red wine vinegar. Once I've effectively stewed my mixture, I'll pulse it a few times with a hand blender and then drain the excess liquid to keep the chunky bits for my sandwich. Speaking of sandwiches, I got a nice loaf of this crunchy Italian ciabatta, which I'll cut 2 hearty slices of. I'll then layer our homemade Travis meatballs, add and melt some provolone cheese, and finally finish it with a layer of our roasted red pepper spread. Sitting down and getting a few bites in, I immediately made a profound realization. This shit is absolutely spanking my taste buds. This is a real man's sandwich, layered with great diversity in textures and flavors, from the meatiness of those meatballs to the acidity of that red pepper spread, all with a crunchy Italian bread and melty cheese joining in on the flavor symphony. I would say if the portions were reduced and there was a little less vinegar in the pepper spread, I'd say that this sandwich would honestly challenge a meatball sub of any other top-tier Italian deli that I've been to. It honestly really is that good. The Travis Scott meatball sandwich, for me, lands at a solid 9 out of 10. Thank you and God bless Cactus Jack. Thank you all for watching all the way through. I genuinely appreciate that. Please leave a like, comment, let me know what you want to see next, and have a great day.